My name is Cheryl Allen, and this is how what I thought would end up being a wonderful date turned into the creepiest experience of my life. After whining to my best friend about wanting to meet a great guy, she recommended I try a dating app called Bumble. I was 24, in great shape, and definitely attractive. I didn't see myself as someone who needed to stoop to using a dating app. But the reality was, dating had been a catastrophe, and I hadn't been in a relationship in almost 3 years. I saw my best friend so happy with her boyfriend, and honestly, I was envious. So I decided to give Bumble a try and see what would happen. I actually liked some of the app's features. It gave women all the power. Men couldn't contact me unless I reached out first. That meant I wouldn't receive any unwanted messages or inappropriate pictures from just random guys. At first, I did a lot of swiping left. Most of the men just weren't appealing to me. My friends told me that on these apps you can't be too selective, that I should just find a guy who looks good or has similar interests and message him. Then I could see if we hit it off and go from there. Well, that's how I ended up swiping right on Kyle. Kyle was tall and good-looking, almost too good-looking. Also, his profile was so well-written. We had a few similar interests. He also said he loved dogs. Now, a dog lover is always a plus in my book. Because of my work schedule, owning a dog is impractical. But when I was a little girl, my dog was my best friend. I always imagined someday, after I was married and had a family, my kids would have a loving dog too. On paper, Kyle seemed pretty good, although I did think it was a little weird that he didn't smile in any of his photos. Seems like a guy who had it all like Kyle would smile in his photos. Still, no profile was perfect, so I decided to message Kyle anyway. Kyle and I hit it off right away. We liked the same foods and watched the same dumb TV shows. He was really funny too. So after just a few days of chatting online, we decided to meet for dinner. When Kyle showed up looking exactly like his profile picture, I was relieved. Throughout dinner, he was so sweet, so funny, so perfect. I couldn't believe my luck. Everyone talks about meeting creeps on dating apps, but Kyle was like Prince Charming come to life. I'm not in the habit of going back to a guy's place on a first date, but it was going so well that I accepted without hesitation. That's when things started to go horribly wrong. Kyle owned a house, which was impressive for someone just a few years older than me. Like the man who lived there, the house was clean and ordered. He even had white furniture that was perfectly spotless. There were plants everywhere, but I quickly realized they were all fake. Admittedly, that struck me as a little odd, but nothing to send me running out the door. No, that would come later. I remembered Kyle saying he had dogs, but they were nowhere to be seen. When I asked to see them, he told me of course, then led me into a room that made me freeze in my tracks. The room was decorated with stuffed dogs, lots of them, enough to fill a taxidermy shop. Small dogs and large dogs, all frozen in bizarre poses. I almost screamed in horror, but was able to contain myself. Having stuffed animals was weird enough, but dogs? Who stuffs only dogs? Clueless to my repulsion, Kyle proudly told me he did the work himself. He pointed out the finer details of his gruesome hobby with an eerie glee. I was starting to feel sick. I couldn't help wondering if he found the dogs dead or if he killed them with his own hands. Either way, I wanted out of that room as soon as possible. Oh, but Kyle wasn't done. He grabbed my hand and told me there was something else he wanted to show me. He tugged me to another door and into a dark room. The strange smell of formaldehyde and death almost made me gag. Then he flicked on the light, and I couldn't believe what I saw. The room could only be described as an operating room. And in the middle of that room, on a stainless surgical steel table, lay the corpse of a gutted German shepherd. Kyle smiled at me and said, "Surprise! When I finish, this one will be for you. Isn't it beautiful?" I didn't utter a word to Kyle. I just ran out of there like the place was on fire. Seconds later, I was in my car speeding away from Prince Charming's Twisted Castle. The first thing I did when I was safely back home was delete Bumble. My best friend told me I shouldn't give up because of one bad date. Bad date? I told my best friend to shut up. I wanted absolutely nothing more to do with online dating. For all I knew, if I had stuck around Kyle any longer, I might have ended up like one of those poor dogs.